Good morning. There's no way I'm going to wait for another hour and 11 minutes to start my video. I've been awake for 2 hours already and out of bed for about an hour. And I'm just simply not going to wait till 4:44. So it's going to have to be a 333 today, a 9. Maybe it's completing something. Who knows? The title that I've selected for today is Nesara, Oppt, Secrecy, Communication, Confusion. Even if everyone spoke English, we would not be speaking the same language. What we say and what others hear depends on variables, making our communication speculative at best rather than absolute in fact. This came out very clearly for me yesterday in my Mystics in Training class, private conversations, listening to a discussion about Nesara with James Rink and a man named Doug, and other things I encountered. Heather's anticipated debate about the OPPT with Dean Clifford did not happen due to the death of Heather's mom on Wednesday. Doug criticized the OPPT because it wasn't secret, while I praise it for that very reason. Some see the ETs as angels, while others are convinced they are demons. Some label a belief in right and wrong, good and evil, as judgment, while others see it as common sense. Even love means different things to different people. Can you see why we are so confused as humans? I can. And that's what I'm asking you to consider today. Yes, I was pondering this even before I went to bed last night, and I have an itchy nose. Um, and this morning, as I meditated before I even got out of bed, wanting to actually fall back to sleep, but I didn't. Again, if I had listened to the interview last night with Heather and not the interview, the debate with Heather and Dean Clifford, I would have probably not gotten to bed till between 11 and 12. However, since it didn't happen, I probably fell asleep by 9:30, and then I'm awake 4 hours later because for some reason I guess I'm not supposed to get more than about 4 hours of sleep in any stretch of time. So here I am this morning at 3:33. But in any case, by mid-afternoon, I was feeling really heavy. I mean, really heavy. In the discussion at the Mystics in Training class, where we're doing a book reading, the seed of the soul. Yeah, we got Gary Zukav's Seed of the Soul. It became clear how much we have different ideas about what things mean, even when it's English. Now, we know that the legal system, when you go to court, what you mean by something and what the court means by something are totally different because the legal system has redefined words other than their common meaning. They have a common meaning and then a legal meaning, which creates confusion. And when you don't understand that, you're entering into contracts with the corporate system that you don't even know you're entering into, and it's fraud and deception. That's how I see it. Others see it, well, that's designed that way so that you can separate the wheat from the chaff and the people that know from those that don't know. And it's a good thing because it develops wisdom or something. I don't know what the reasoning is. But I realized as we were talking about goals or intent or purposes, we do something because We are expecting a certain result. I realize that all of my life I have had the idea of establishing the kingdom of heaven on earth, or the kingdom of God, or whatever it is, or peace on earth, however you want to label it. I mean, I can label it all those ways, and I know what I mean. But when I was younger, what I meant by the kingdom of heaven on earth is different, even though the same words, it's different than what I mean now. When I was younger, I was still very much caught in the polarization of duality, and I felt that the only way that you can establish the kingdom of heaven on earth is by a process of separating the goats from the sheep, the good people from the bad people. Well, then I began to see the law of one at work, and I began to see that God, what we call God, and that has many different meanings for different people, but what we call God, to me, encompasses the whole. There is no separation in the Creator, none. And yet, it's a multi-personality disorder of the Creator, because the Creator has placed a part of Creator's self in creation, especially sentient creation, which I term as human beings or other sentient beings like angels. Okay? I generally don't include animals, but some people include animals as sentient beings, and in a sense, they are, but not in the way that I recognize it. Can you see, even in me trying to explain some of these differences in how we see things, can you see the confusion? Can you see how we don't really communicate when we're thinking we're communicating? When I raise my voice in some of my videos, some see that as anger. Others hear it as passion. For some, it's a bad thing. For others, it's a good thing. I mentioned a couple of days ago that I created a fan page on Facebook. I had an individual challenge me on that. Jesus would not have a fan page. I mean, how egotistical of you to create a fan page. Like you're wanting some kind of a following. Hey, I have a following. Did I set out to have a following? No, it surprises me. Because it's not what I wanted to be heard, but I didn't want to be anybody's guru, and I still don't. All I'm doing is sharing my life because I consider that to be a form of love. I consider that to be honest communication. I've been willing to be sometimes angry, and I'm passionate when I'm expressing anger, but I'm also passionate when I'm expressing my values, and when I feel like when I'm frustrated because I'm not able to communicate my values so that people get it and understand it. Somebody suggested, "What, do you want everybody to believe like you?" Well, in some cases, yes. I would like there to be communication so that when I'm saying something, you're hearing what I'm saying and not through your filters. But we all do it. We all hear through our filters and we speak through our filters, which prevents communication from actually occurring. And one friend says that where I come from, in the angelic realm, we don't use words. We just simply telepathically communicate, and we know what the other person's intent and feelings are just like that, and there's no confusion. Well, that's certainly not the way it is on Earth. There's lots of confusion on Earth, and I don't know that it has anything to do with telepathy or verbal communication. It has to do with we're all on different frequencies, and they've got all these scrambled frequencies, all of these channels, I should say. And some people are tuned into frequency X, and others are tuned into Y, and others are tuned into Z, and some are A, B, and C, and each is on a different frequency, a different channel, and each channel has its own meaning for words, so that the words are not constant, the meaning of the words are not constant, and even our emotions can be misunderstood. I don't consider sadness, for example, to be a bad emotion. Others do, because it doesn't feel good. I don't even consider anger to be a bad emotion, but some think it's terrible and egoic in nature, and therefore must be rejected at all costs. As Doug and James Rink talked about Nesara, I believe that principles of Nesara are going to come about. And they were saying that it has to be secret, or had to be a gag order put on it, and it has to be secret until it's ready to be fully implemented in order to flush out all of the evil people. And then toward the end of the conversation, more than 3/4 of the way through it, they brought up the subject. I think James Rink brought up the subject with Doug of the OPPT, and he says, obviously it can't be right because they're just putting it out there for people. Well, you can't just put it out there for people until all of the bad people are arrested and brought into custody. And he gave a huge number. He said it started out with a fairly small number in the hundreds, but it's thousands or tens of thousands of people now that need to be arrested in order to bring about the changes. So again, like I said in the blurb, he was seeing the openness of the OPPT as meaning, well, it can't possibly be good because it has to remain a secret until it's ready to be exposed. And once it's exposed, it's done. Well, the OPPT says it's done. And what they're saying is done, and what Doug is meaning as done are not the same thing. But they're each using the same word. It's finished. It's done. This is my frustration and what I was feeling yesterday, because trying to communicate clearly as I possibly can, I realize that I can't. Because people have different meanings for things. And they're hearing something else. When I say I'm looking for ET intervention and ET assistance, I'm meaning that as the good guys. But many people have been trained, as I said in the blurb again, to think of ETs as demons, and that demons are in charge of the world. And archons and stuff like that. That was in the discussion with Doug and James Rink yesterday. They were talking about archons ruling over, because that's a belief. And we have all of these beliefs and all of these filters that keep the barrier up, keep the shield up, if you will, and make it so that we don't love each other. And again, love, what does that mean? There's multiple words, at least 4 in Greek, that are translated as love in English that I'm aware of. The 4th one I can't quite remember, but 3 of them I could spit right off the top of my head: agape, philia, and eros. But in any case, it's frustrating, I don't think just for me, I think for a lot of us that really want a world of clarity. We really do want a world that works for everybody. But what works for everybody has different meanings too. Some people want it to work for everybody and they want to keep it the way it is, because that works for them, and they think, well, if it works for me, it must work for everybody. It obviously doesn't to me. It's common sense that it's not working. Look at all of the abuse of man's inhumanity to man. Look at all of the crime, and the worst criminality is criminality that never gets punished because it's part of the system itself. It's part of the matrix. So this is where we are in April 2013. We don't yet have what I think most of us are looking for. Most of us want to simply be left alone, to be free to be ourselves. But the thing is, here too, most of us aren't even aware of who we are or what we are. We see ourselves as just this body and our mind and our thoughts, and we identify totally with that and only with that. So we don't see the extra dimensional parts of ourselves. We don't see the eternal and infinite essence of who we are. We only see the temporal manifestation. And it creates confusion. And all that we know is speculation. So I'm asking you, as I close this talk today, I'm asking you, and I'm asking myself, let's try our best to clear our minds and create or allow the child mind within us. And I don't mean the childish mind. I mean the childlike mind of living on the edge of discovery, of exploration, of I don't know what the answers is, I'm just learning. Because where we're going, we are just learning, and we need that clean slate, that empty mind, if you will, in order to receive whatever it is that we need to receive, so that we can truly love each other, so that we can truly create peace on earth, and we can create a kingdom of heaven that works for everybody and honors everybody where they are, without judgments and misunderstanding and hurt feelings. I want that, and I hope I've communicated that clearly enough. And you can say with me, Ron, yes, I want that too. That's all I'm going to share for today. Thank you for listening. Namaste.